Why do we have to learn so many things the hard way as husbands? Why is there not a cheat sheet that every guy gets before he gets married? Yes, there's tons of books and seminars they can listen and read and go to, but why can't there just be somebody that says, here's 5 things that you need to know about your spouse? It's universal. I don't even have to know your spouse to know these are true. Here's 5 things that are going to be key and must have for you to win in marriage, for you to have a healthy marriage, for you to have a happy home. Well, guess what? I'm your guy. Today's the day. If you're already married, you're going to wish you had these before you got married. And if you know somebody getting married, pass this on, share it, give it to them. This is going to be about as simple as it can get and as basic, but as crucial and essential as you're ever going to find. It's what they don't tell you. 5 things, right? Every man should know about their future spouse. On this episode of Last in Line Leadership.
Make your escape.
Hey, welcome back to another episode. You are here. You are in the right place at Last in Line Leadership Podcast, where you will be encouraged and inspired to walk in the fullness of the leader you are called to be. This is a place where you will hear about the goodness of God and the hope found in His promises to us. My prayer is that you will be empowered as a servant leader from what you hear in this episode of Last in Line Leadership. Hey, welcome back. Glad you did not just take off after you heard the opening to this episode. Glad you didn't shut down and shut off. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for supporting Last in Line Podcast, where we are equipping dudes, guys, men to be the Christian leaders and men that the Bible says we are and can be and should be. Talk about servant leadership here. We talk about the scripture right out of Mark 9:35 that says, he who wants to be first will be last of all and servant of all. That's you. That's me. We're all leaders. We all have influence. We all need to lead, but there's good leaders. There's bad leaders, right? Very few just kind of in between leaders. So here at Last in Line, I hope we're equipping you to be the best leader that's inside of you. So today, this is going to be kind of cool because I had a whole outline written out for something else to talk about. And then driving home, don't know why. I don't know why this came to me, but something else. I just sort of totally had to pivot and shift because this came to me, this topic of why don't we as men have a little short class or just maybe something printed out that says, here you go. Here's your golden ticket. Mr. Willy Wonka of marriage here to give you your golden ticket. Here's the 5 things every guy should know about their future spouse before you tie the knot. These are universal. They are across the board true. And there's probably about 50,000 other ones, but these are 5 that came to me. And so these are 5 I'm going to pass to you. But I'm telling you, I got to know why they don't tell us this. Things they don't tell us, guys, about our wives before we marry them. But I promise it would be so much easier if we knew these ahead of time. It would prevent so many arguments, so much silent treatment. It would prevent so many evil looks, so much division and discord. It would prevent all of that. I think, that's my opinion. I've been married 27 years. I've done a lot of it wrong. I've done some right. I've adjusted and course corrected and failed forward. So I've done wrong and now I do right in certain areas. So I'm a good learner, maybe not a fast learner, but I'm a good learner eventually. Thank God he has patience with me and he gave me a wife who does as well. Well, guys, I know you're probably most of you are married. Uh, if you're single, and I know God's got somebody else for you. If you're divorced, if you're single, I know He's got somebody for you to begin with, because we're not called to be alone, right? We're called uh, to have somebody to share life with, husband and a wife. Uh, there are two sexes, contrary to what culture says. Sorry, two genders. I don't know how you say that now, but I'm an 80s kid, so I just kind of call it like it is. Um, Not much politically correct about me sometimes. So here's what I got for you. If I can get my lighting kind of teased out here and figured out. Uh I've got 5 things for you today. And man, these are going to be staples. These are going to be home runs. I'm just telling you. You are going to get better today. If you already know this stuff, it's going to be a good reminder. If you're not doing this stuff, implement these, and they're really simple to just flip a switch and implement tomorrow. I'm telling you, you will see a difference uh, in a good way in your marriage. So here we go. Without any further banter from yours truly, let's get into it. Let's dive into this. Lace them up tight, guys. Let's lock in, because some of this may be a little shocking to you. Some of it may be confusing. You might think, I don't know if I agree with that. I'm telling you, I'm living proof. If you've been married, happily married longer than me, then maybe you can say, I don't believe these. I do it this way in a bunch of different ways. Well, okay, you do your thing. You do you. It's working for you, so good. But here we go. Number one, not real sure these are in any particular order of importance either, but it doesn't matter. Here it is. First one, learn their love language. Okay. I've got what their biggest need is. This is standard across the board for all women. Their biggest need, I can tell you, but learn their love language. Buy Gary Chapman's book, call Gary on the phone, send him an email, whatever you got to do. 5 love languages. Okay. Quality time, physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, and gifts. Those are the 5. Every person most likely has one of those as a dominant love language, and then there's probably a second, a secondary. But find out which one's primary for her. That will pay huge dividends. Okay. And it'll also speak volumes to her that you actually care enough to dive into what that is and what that even means and what hers is. Like you're going to gain some major points, and that'll go into our last topic, our last bullet point. But no, I'm going to tell you, I told you I would tell you what her biggest need is. Her biggest need is security. Every woman wants security, needs to feel secure, and there's so many different branches on that tree, right? I mean, they need to feel secure physically, like you're not going to run out on them and you're not checking other women out. She needs to feel that security. Financially, right? They need to feel secure there. Different spiritually, they need to feel secure that you're going to be the man of the house spiritually, and you're going to lead the home spiritually. That's what you're called to do. So that's their biggest need, is security. There's no doubt. There's some other ones, of course. They need to feel protected, all that. That kind of folds right into security, though. But learn the love language. Once you know that, feed it, foster it, cultivate, turn the soil of her love language. Figure it out. Ask her. I mean, if you don't want to buy the book, just go right down to bare knuckles and ask her. What is your love language? And give her the 5 and ask her to pick one. And you can probably guess it because you've probably fought the battle and lost many times by trying to go pull that string that really wasn't her thing instead of finding out really what that was, what her trigger was, her hot button. If she's all about quality time and you just think giving her flowers and candy and jewelry should make it all okay, that ain't it. You're not preaching to her choir. Okay. You're not strumming the right strings, guys. That's why the music doesn't sound good. Uh, Find out if it's quality time. Go take her out on a picnic. Go walk around the block with her. Go just sit by her on the couch and talk. Okay. Yes, guys, we can talk. We do have feelings. We can share emotions. We can communicate. Okay. I don't care how much you bench press. I don't care how many jiu-jitsu tournaments you've been in. I don't care how many deer racks are on your wall. You're wired to do this. You're wired for relationship, for community, for connection, for communication. All right. There. I said it. So that's the first one. Learn her love language. Okay. That goes both ways, really, for her to learn yours as well. So have that talk, buy that book, go through it with her. I have a friend of mine who did that. He bought the book. Hopefully he's going with it, through it with his wife, because they really don't know that about each other or haven't really given it a whole lot of thought anyway. And so I'm encouraging you. Second one, number 2. All right. This is what they don't tell you before you get married. At least they didn't tell me. And I was maybe too ignorant to even pursue and ask and try to figure this stuff out. But that was the first one. Okay. Learn the love language. Second one, you don't need to fix every problem that she has. We do not have to be the wrench of her leaky faucet. Okay. We don't have to be Tim the Toolman Taylor in every aspect of her life emotionally. My wife, early on, when she was, we were both kind of starting out, and she had a job and she was moving up the ladder and she was doing really well. And she kind of made it into some supervisory role. And she would bring home these problems every day, right? Of what her team was doing or not doing and what her boss was like not doing and treating her a certain kind of way. And guess what? Me being, the macho guy, I had solutions. I had answers. I had rebuttals. I had things that she could guide scripts for her to take back to work. And you tell them this and you lay down the law and you do, I've got it all figured out. That just caused more fights with me and her because that wasn't necessarily what she wanted to hear. She wasn't really wanting me to fix it, come swoop in and come up with the perfect solution. Yeah. Suggestions are fine. There's a way to do that. Honey, do you want me to solve this? Do you want me to offer solutions, or do you just want me to listen whenever she comes to you with a problem? Those are some qualifying questions that you can ask to really save yourself some heartache and not have to swoop in every time and be a superhero, right? Put the cape in the drawer. You can use that for another time, role playing, whatever you do as a couple. But no, really, you don't have to fix everything. Just find out if she even wants you to fix it. Find out if her desire is that you have the answer to the problem. I mean, with my wife's job now, I use job as an example, but it could be anything. Our kids' situation, we usually have to come up with a solution or a fix together. But, the job now is stressful that she has. I really just listen, because a lot of it is accounting and real estate and stuff I don't really know. And so I'm not going to try to come in and pretend to be all knowledgeable about something that I'm ignorant of. I'm not even really going to tell her this is what I would do. We're big into that, guys. I know we think that's empathetic, but it's not really. Empathy is understanding her point of view and being in her shoes, climbing into her skin for a second and understanding what her thought process might be. Empathy's not, well, here's what I would do, honey, and here's what you should do, and here's what it should make you feel like, and this is what you should how you should react to that. We don't need to tell her how she's feeling or how to feel, and we don't need to tell her what to do with those feelings. Okay? I'm living proof. I must say that on every episode that I do. I'm living proof, right? Because I'm usually talking about something that I struggled at and figured some stuff out and turned a corner and actually got on the right path. Well, in this case, same goes, man. I've done it wrong. I thought my role as a man was to fix it and to know everything and to have every solution. And that's not always what they want, guys. In fact, it's probably rarely what they want, which is why I go back to asking that qualifying question, honey, do you want me to give you some suggestions on how to fix this before you ever tell me? Or do you want me to just let you vent and me to sit and listen? That right there will cut out 80% of any disagreements y'all have or any problems that you trying to fix her problem might cause with you two. That's it. Just don't try to fix every problem. Yeah, there's some things you got to fix. There's some things that she, really does need a suggestion or some advice. And there's some black and white, cut and dry situations where this is right, this is wrong, and there's really no in between. But most of the time, they just want you to listen. They just want to be heard. They want to get it off their chest. And then ultimately, you might be able to ask a few questions along the way that gets them to a solution on their own. And let me just tell you, a solution they come up with is way better than one you give them, even if yours is perfect. If they feel like they fixed it, that's even better. That's a win-win. And you can ask questions along the way that get her down the road to do that, right? You've heard the term, people don't like to be sold, but they like to buy. Okay. They like to buy, they don't like to be sold. Wives like to, we all, I guess, like to feel like something was our idea, or we like to feel like we came up with the solution. But you can direct her with questions about her situation. Now, that's empathy. When you ask those questions in real, true concern and curiosity, right, to know how she's feeling, where she's going, what she's going through. That was the second one. You don't got to fix every problem. Contrary to what man guide to manliness you read that may say that, trash it. I'm living proof. 27 years, mark it on the board, gavel drop moment. Okay. 27 years, a lot of doing the wrong thing, but a lot of doing the right thing too. I know, and I've learned the hard way. You don't have to fix every problem for her. The third one, guys, your differences are a good thing. Embrace them. They say opposites attract, right? That's like the main, that's the cliche everybody's clinging to right there. Opposites attract. And they may very well actually do, but I will tell you, in the context of your personality and her personality and the qualities of each, don't fight the differences. Don't try to change her. Don't try to make her more like you. That's the last thing you want to do. The classic example, the classic analogy is magnets, right? They're magnets opposite. They attach to each other because they have opposite charges, right? One's positive, one negative. They stick together. The same positive magnets are not going to come together. So that might be even where we get that expression. I don't know. Forgive my ignorance, but opposites attract might be where that came from. I got to tell you, it's so true. I for many years, I used to just cringe at some of the different ways my wife did things or thought about things or reacted to things or even communicated. Let's take that for an example. The differences you guys have in how you communicate is okay. Like, we don't, of course, all have to yell to get our point across. If both of you are screaming, you're just out screaming the other one and there's no resolution to anything. If one screams and one is super passive, then it becomes a domineering relationship, and that's not healthy. So understand that personalities are different, of course, and you got to understand what that is, what those differences are. Maybe you dig into why it is. Maybe there's a good reason, right? Maybe they grew up in a home that everything was loud and people just shouted all the time. So that's what comes out of them. That's my case. I grew up in a very fiery, passionate, outspoken family, very stubborn, hard-headed, right? Prideful men in our family. And we felt like we had more to say if we said it louder. And it was very much more impactful the louder it got. My wife didn't grow up that way. And so we butted heads about that. And eventually, I think she felt like she had to kind of get on a level playing field. So I think she adopted some of that fiery conflict resolution that was very passionate. And that wasn't healthy either. So I think part of me rubbed off on her unintentionally, and it was counterproductive to the whole situation. So don't go into situations thinking you got to change them to make them more like you. I certainly didn't think that, but it just kind of happened in that example. But if they're different, find out why they're different, or actually examine those differences and actually look at them and think, they do that differently. That might be a better way. Ooh, that just made your skin crawl, right? The guys listening to that statement, ooh, you may have to do something different, and actually might be a better way, and it might actually be your wife's way that changes your way, and it might actually be better and more productive and more efficient. Oh no. I hope you didn't drive off the road there. I certainly hope you didn't turn off the podcast. But that's a reality. Whether you want to believe it or not doesn't make it less true. There are more ways to skin a cat, right? So your way doesn't always have to be the highway. It doesn't always have to be one way and it be your way. So the differences, I got to say, embrace them. They're good. Now, if people are being different just for the sake of being contradictory or and antagonistic or whatever the word is, then that's something that needs to be addressed, and that's a symptom of something a lot deeper. I'm talking about just the way people were raised, the way people's personalities develop. You guys were attracted physically first, I'm sure, and then you became really good friends, or vice versa, and then you sort of developed this relationship, but you didn't really understand all the differences. Well, when you get married, those differences come out because you're 24/7 with each other. You start seeing things that you didn't realize. You start noticing little intricacies about their personality you didn't really know were there. And some of them are a pleasant surprise, but some of them you're kind of like, I didn't know that. Didn't know they did that. One of those things. And so it's time you really start to embrace that person and start to get to know why they're that way and sort of unpack some of those differences, and maybe just chalk it up to, guess what? I love them anyway. I mean, we're married, unconditional love. Like agape love is love that doesn't fail, doesn't fade. It's not based on their merit. So stick to that baseline, okay? When you start picking apart people and splitting hairs about differences that you guys have and different things you do. So I don't know, that I just think differences are a good thing, but you may just have to chalk it up to, guess what? I'm probably not going to change them. I don't really like that, but I can overlook that because of all these other good things over here. And guess what? Look in the mirror, because she's probably thinking that about some of your stuff. So I just say we air them all out, right? Air out all the differences that we may have just come across since we've been married, and we got to address these. Like, these are different. I didn't know about these. Like, let's get these out on the table and let's check them off the list, and let's kind of trash them. If they're, if they're non-negotiable of changing, let's just trash them and move on and acknowledge that there's bigger fish to fry, and our love's a little deeper than just some of those little differences. Anyway, so that's number 3. All right. These are things that they don't tell you guys before you get married. And these could really save you a lot of hardship in your relationship. See what I did there? That was good. All right. So the 4th one is, it's not a competition. Don't be threatened by your wife's strengths. Too many times, guys, we grew up competing in sports. We grew up competing in our adult life in business. We're always chasing something. Guys are hunters. Guys are gatherers. Guys are warriors. Guys are competitors. Right? We're always looking at the next guy to see if we're any better than him. Let's test each other's mettle. Let's kind of check each other out, size each other up. When you first meet a dude, you're checking him, you're sizing him up like, okay, I bet I could take this guy, or we used to say that. I don't really say that anymore, being older, I couldn't care less. But that's one of those things that we used to kind of think, yeah, okay. And then he doesn't look very strong. Well, maybe he looks kind of strong. One of those things. We're sizing each other up because we're always wanting to compete, or we're always thinking about what if we had to compete? This is what I would do, or So when you get married, that can't translate. That doesn't translate. The parallels are not there. You don't operate the same with your spouse. You're not competing with her. When my wife first, when I first got a job out of college, or I guess it was, my first job, no, second job, I took a pay cut because I knew it was going to be kind of a longer term deal. Well, her career was kind of going on the rise and she was making more than me. And I didn't like that at first. I was like, that sucks. I feel like less of a dude. I feel like less of a husband. I'm very insecure about this. I don't like it. Like, I was fighting that. I'm looking around going, what are you doing, idiot? It's all in the same pot. It's all in the same bank account. That helps our cause, right? That helps the team. It's not about me making more than her. It's not about my money and her money. And if that's you, if your situation is about you got separate accounts, you're married, it's about her money, your money, that's a deeper issue. You better get some help with that. Anyway, I got to say, though, competition's not healthy. I really don't think in any area of marriage should you be competing with your spouse. You guys are one, right? One flesh, as they say in the vows, if you're paying attention. Um, you know, I was about half paying attention because I was really hungover, but that was a previous life. Don't really know why I threw that in there, but for you guys that weren't paying attention, it's, flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone, one flesh. Okay. This is what marriage is. It's not two people, it's two people becoming one. So it's not a competition. She's not the enemy. She's not the other team. Figure out how to work together on things in arguments, right? I keep coming back to this communication thing, but I guess it's because that's where I've always been weakest. When I say weak, I mean, I've always tried to go the wrong way about communicating and conflict resolution. It's always been about me winning. Okay. Me being right. And I can tell you right now, you being right now is going to be wrong for you in the coming hours and days. So think about this long game of what I say now is going to impact me 48 hours from now, at least. It's not a competition. I could get a zinger in there. I could point out where she's wrong. I could tell her how the cow eats the cabbage. I could lay down the law, whatever, toxic masculine, axioms are out there. But I could win right now. In this moment, I could win and it would feel so good. But I can tell you, it's not going to be the juice is not going to be worth the squeeze on that one, because down the road, it's going to impact me with her. And it's going to keep putting notches in that belt, chipping away at her psyche, at her emotions. And long term, those are leave scars. So the more I'm right now, the worse it is for me later, and it's going to damage her. So I'm just saying, it's not a competition. It's not about winning. It's not about right and wrong. It's about come to the middle, meet in the middle. Shout out Diamond Rio for that great song in the 90s. It's meet in the middle, guys. It's compromise. It's hear her side, hear your side. It's okay. It's going to take a little sacrifice maybe on my end, but it's going to be some on hers. We kind of come to the middle and we find a resolution. Okay. We got to create more win-wins in our marriage, whether that's communication, whether that's intimacy, which is going to be my next one. But create as many win-wins as you can, not just you win, she loses. Okay. There's really, when you win and she loses, there's two losers there. You end up losing. Trust me. All right. It's not a competition. Don't be threatened by her strengths. Whatever her strengths are, feed those, nourish those, boost her up, lift her up, empower those. Okay. If she's strong at something, empower. My wife is a numbers person. She is an accountant, for crying out loud. She is very organized and administrative. Guess what? I don't have a problem with her taking care of our finances. I'm in the loop. I know what's going on, but dude, she's got spreadsheets, budgets, and we go over those together, but she is locked in. That is her wheelhouse. So, I mean, she can juggle so many different things financially with our house with 4 kids. I mean, there's a lot going on there. So why would I fight that? Just so I can say I'm a man of the house and I handle the finances. Come on, guys. I do plenty of other things that are my role as a man, leader of the home. Like I feel okay about it. But her strength is that. Why would I fight it just for the sake of me being full of pride? So that's what we do. So figure out what her strengths are and then boost those, empower those, put her in situations to be able to utilize those, her gifts, her talents, her strengths. Last one. Guess what? I spoiler alerted you earlier, but intimacy, guys, it's not just physical. You've heard it before. You've probably said it before, but you still haven't figured it out. But I can tell you, if you know anybody that's not married yet, tell them this. If you haven't learned it, at least give them the answers to the test, because I'm right. I can promise you sex is better when you've connected on other levels besides physical. When you've been intimate about who you guys are together, what problems you're dealing with, what you're vulnerable about. Be transparent about some of your emotions sometimes. If you lose a loved one, guys, don't be afraid to cry with your wife. Don't be afraid to grieve together. Don't be afraid to tell her kind of what your fears are, what your, some of your times of frustration. Don't be afraid of that. You don't have to appear to have everything together for her. Yeah, I said security is her biggest need, but we also want to be truthful and transparent and say, look, babe, I don't have this figured out yet. I'm a little fearful about it, but I'm going to take care of it. Don't worry. I'm not putting it on you, but I'm giving you some realness. I'm showing you who I am, and I'm laying it out there. Dude, that's intimacy. You guys connect. She actually has an opportunity to step in and kind of comfort you for once when you've always been the comforter, right? She can kind of comfort you. That's what this is. It's a partnership. It's a two-way street from emotional support standpoint. But intimacy is not just about sex, not just about both of you guys getting what you need in the bedroom. Okay. It's about emotional connection. It's about a heart connection. It's about intellectually connecting. When you guys devise a strategy to get out of debt together, that's intimacy to me. I mean, that's sharing knowledge. It's understanding each other's point of view. It's coming together and utilizing, some resources to come to a common goal. That's anything you guys do together that's a connection is intimacy. Physical, emotional, intellectual, spiritual. Spiritual's enormous. Guys, when you connect with your wife spiritually and pray together, if you do a Bible study together, say you take a class at church together. My wife and I just finished teaching a parenting class together. We didn't know how that was going to go. I don't even know that she wanted to do that originally. She wanted to take a class together, and I volunteered us to teach one. That's my bad, although not really. I'm not really sorry, because it ended up she was awesome at it, and I knew she would be. She doesn't see that in herself, but I see it in her. I think that we had a different level of connection by serving at church and teaching a class together. I mean, I think we spiritually, when we pray together, I think that connects us on a different level. Guys, guess what that leads to? Way more powerful moments in the bedroom, way more deep connections physically, right? Just touching without having to gain something at the end of that. Just hugging or kissing in the kitchen and knowing that that's not leading to the bedroom right then. Guys, that's going to that's going to pay huge dividends when it is time for physical intimacy. I'm just saying they connect on different levels than we do. We basically only have one level. They're like an onion. You got to peel the layers back, guys. Get on their level with some of that. Show them you have more than one level. Show them you have there's more depth to you, right? Than just sex in the bedroom. So intimacy is more than just physical. So I gotta say, I wish I'd have known this stuff. I wish someone had sat me down and said, "Look, young dude, you don't know anything. You think you do, but you don't know crap about your future spouse." We did premarital counseling, and none of this got covered. I wish they would have told us this, and there's probably 1,000 other ones that I'm leaving off. But these 5 will save you heartache, will save you arguments, will save you divorce, will save you problems in the bedroom. Like, it'll save you so many things, guys. If you can, and I'm going to recap, learn their love language, right? Understand security is their biggest need, but learn their love language and feed it. Second one, you don't have to fix every problem she has. Okay. I would add, you don't have to dump all yours on her either and expect her to fix yours, but you really don't have to fix hers. Sometimes you just got to sit there and listen, but find out ahead of time. Do you want me to fix it? Do you want suggestions, or you just want me to listen? Third one, your differences are a good thing. Embrace those. Okay. 4, it's not a competition. Don't be threatened by her strengths. In fact, water those, cultivate those, allow her to flourish in her gifts, empower those, prop her up, shove her out into those areas that she can look like a champion with her talents and strengths. The last one, number 5, intimacy is not just physical. That speaks for itself, guys. I hope that helped. I hope you got better today. I hope you know somebody that's not married yet that you can share this with. Maybe you can renew your vows and start over, guys. Maybe you need a fresh start. Get a reset. Go through these. Learn them. Live them. Love them. With that, be blessed.
Make your escape.